Hey guys, and welcome back. In this video I'm going to explain a specific behavior that I implemented in the particles. Unfortunately it's not it's visible but not that much. The idea is when the particle is moving upward or is being emitted with high velocity, it doesn't have too much velocity, it doesn't have too much noise, but then once it loses the interaction with the source, it starts drifting off, and then as it falls it gets noisier and noisier and noisier. So basically the path is it's going from the ground or from the starting point up. During that period it doesn't have a lot of noise, especially at the source, and then once the emission stops the particles are going to start falling like dust, and at that point they start getting turbulent and agitated more and more and more, and then they fade off quickly. So that's what I want to implement in pops, and I think once I show how this works you guys will get a better idea. So I'm going to create a pop network, and let's create a location. I'm going to shoot the particles up and maybe move them like that. Let's hit play. Cool. Let's add a gravity. And let's add a ground. Hit play. And what I want to do now is I don't want to affect them as they get emitted like this, but then once the particle starts falling I want them to start getting turbulent and basically drift with the wind or whatever force we have that we can apply to them. And let's add a pop drag to slow this a bit. Cool. So I'm gonna increase this a bit more to 15 just to have a longer fall down, something like that. So this part we don't want to change, and then during this period we want to affect them. So let's use a pop VOP, and the first thing we can do is we can use the height. So we can say, okay, don't affect anything between this and this, so that points that are the particles that get close to the ground, they lost that force and it's only gonna be applied in this region. So let's dive inside and let's take the Y position and fit range that, and let's plug it into the color, and that's it. Let's play with the range. Cool, maybe 5. Perfect. So we don't want to change them when they're in this region. So let's use a ramp, a float ramp, and let's go up. I'm going to set this to B-spline and B-spline here, something like that. Cool. But this mask is not enough. You can see we have this whole area which we don't want. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the velocity. So if we look at the velocity vector, see how these are facing up? The velocity is shooting upward, and the points that are falling down, their velocity is in a different direction. So let's do this. Let's take the velocity and do a dot product with an up vector. And let's plug this into a fit range. That goes between -1 and 1, and then I'm going to use a mix to mix between two colors, red and blue. That's the bias, and let's connect this. Let's hit play, and there we go. That's our mask. If a particle is falling down, it becomes red. If it's going up, it's blue. and you can use this mask as a multiplier. So let's mix these two, the ramp and then this, but we don't want the full range. So from this mix, I just want the red channel. So I'm going to use a vector to float. I'm going to pick the red channel, and that's going to be white. And let's go back. And so now it's black, black, and then if a particle starts falling down in this region, we're going to apply something to it. So let's create a turbulent noise and use the position. For the noise, it's a 3D noise, and let's use original Perlin. It doesn't really matter, it's just what you like to use. And I'm going to use this multiplier to mask basically where there is 0, I don't want any noise. Then where it's 1, we want the noise to be on. But then we're going to take this and add it to the current velocity. So let's plug that into V, and let's go back. Let's hit play, and there we go. Now as the particle, once they start falling down, they're going to be affected with this noise. So let's increase the frequency to 10. And let's increase the amplitude of the noise. And there we go. We have to tweak this. And it's working. So that's what I want to implement. It's pretty much there. I mean, this is it. And we want to implement this with our particle system so that anything that is falling down, we want to add some noise to it and leave everything that is fast moving or going upward. And that's it. See you guys in the next video. Bye bye.